Ringo Starr, the famed drummer of the Beatles, is not only celebrated for his musical talent, but also admired for his humility, charm, and resilience. His journey, from a sickly boy in Liverpool to becoming one of the most recognizable figures in the history of music, is a testament to his perseverance, passion, and quiet determination. Even as a key member of the Beatles, a band known for its brilliance and internal tensions, Ringo maintained a sense of groundedness that made him a beloved figure both on and off the stage. Now, at 84, Ringo reflects on his journey with the Beatles, offering insights into the moments and decisions that shaped the band's legacy. Early life. A fragile beginning. Born Richard Starkey on July 7, 1940, in the working-class district of Dingle, Liverpool, Ringo faced an early life marked by struggle. His parents, Richard Starkey Sr. and Elsie Gleave, enjoyed lively social gatherings filled with swing music and ballroom dancing. However, Ringo's arrival disrupted the family's dynamics, with his mother becoming fiercely protective and his father withdrawing into the pub life. When Ringo was just 4 years old, his parents separated, leaving him with fragmented memories of his father and a childhood of hardship. At a young age, Ringo was already confronting significant health challenges. A routine appendectomy at age 6 led to complications that nearly took his life, and he spent an entire year in the hospital recovering from peritonitis. Isolated from his friends and family, Ringo fell behind in school, often feeling disconnected from his peers. It was during this lonely period that Ringo discovered his love for drumming. Using makeshift drumsticks and the furniture in his hospital room, he tapped out rhythms, finding solace and escape in music. In 1953, just as his health seemed to improve, Ringo contracted tuberculosis, which led to 2 years of isolation in a hospital. Once again, music became his refuge. When he returned home, his formal education no longer held appeal, and he immersed himself in rhythm and percussion, practicing on biscuit tins and improvised instruments. His mother remarried, and his stepfather, Harry Graves, exposed him to big band music, providing a steady influence and teaching him lessons in kindness and resilience. The spark of music. Ringo's childhood neighborhood in Liverpool was rough, filled with crumbling homes and petty crime. Yet his love for music remained strong. Despite working various jobs, such as in a factory and as a waiter, Ringo's passion for drumming never waned. The skiffle movement, a blend of folk and jazz music that was gaining popularity in Britain, caught his attention and led him to form lasting friendships with other aspiring musicians. Each illness, setback, and challenge seemed to build in Ringo a quiet resilience that would prepare him for a life that would eventually touch millions. Early career and first bands. During his lunch breaks from a factory job, Ringo and his friend Roy Trafford would sneak into small clubs to play music. They formed a band that went through several name changes, eventually becoming known as the Eddie Clayton Band, and later, Eddie Clayton and the Clayton Squares. They performed skiffle tunes, such as Rock Island Line and Walking Cane, and Ringo would improvise beats using any object he could find, including a thimble to scrape a washboard. His love of dance also contributed to his performances, as he and Roy even took dance lessons to improve their stage presence. A significant turning point in Ringo's life came on Christmas Day in 1957, when his stepfather gifted him a second-hand drum kit, a snare, bass drum, and makeshift cymbals made from rubbish bin lids. This humble kit ignited Ringo's passion for drumming, and he dedicated himself to improving his skills, which ultimately helped secure more gigs for the band. As the skiffle craze faded, Ringo joined Al Caldwell's Texans in 1959, moving toward rock and roll. The band would later rebrand as Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. It was during this period that Ringo Starkey became Ringo Starr, inspired by the rings he wore and the desire for a catchy stage name. He became known for his star-time solo performances, showcasing his growing charisma and sense of humor. Hamburg and the Beatles connection. Rory Storm and the Hurricanes gained local fame, eventually leading to a tour in Butlin's holiday camp in Wales. Although torn between continuing his apprenticeship as a machinist and pursuing music, Ringo chose the latter, a decision that would define his future. The band later toured U.S. Air Force bases in France, before ultimately heading to Hamburg, Germany, where they played at the Kaiserkeller Club. During this time, the Beatles, still an unknown band, played as the opening act. It was in Hamburg that Ringo first encountered John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison. On October 15, 1960, he even played drums on a recording of Summertime with Rory Storm's singer, Lou Walters. These early interactions with the Beatles laid the groundwork for a lifelong connection. In the years that followed, Ringo's talent would soon be recognized by the Beatles, and his musical destiny would forever be linked to theirs. Joining the Beatles. In January 1962, Ringo made the pivotal decision to leave Rory Storm and the Hurricanes and briefly played with Tony Sheridan. Shortly after, John Lennon invited him to join the Beatles, and 2 days later, their manager Brian Epstein informed drummer Pete Best that he would be replaced. Ringo's first performance with the Beatles took place on August 18, 1962, at a dance in Port Sunlight. Although the transition was initially met with resistance, especially from Pete Best's fans, Ringo's place in the Beatles was now secured. His first recording session with the Beatles on September 4, 1962, was met with skepticism from producer George Martin, who brought in session drummer Andy White to play on Love Me Do, relegating Ringo to tambourine duties. Ringo later admitted he feared being replaced, but Martin assured him it was merely a precaution. By November 1962, Ringo had won the hearts of fans, becoming a beloved figure within the Beatles and a major part of the group's identity. His cheerful nature, humor, and star time moments on stage made him a fan favorite, and his drumming style, focused on groove and musicality rather than technical skill, helped define the Beatles' sound. Beatlemania and stardom. By 1963, the Beatles were experiencing the phenomenon known as Beatlemania, and Ringo's role in the band became even more pivotal. The Beatles' second single, Please Please Me, topped the charts, and their televised performances introduced them to millions of fans. Ringo's charm and sense of humor were central to the group's identity, and his infectious personality made him a standout member of the band. The Beatles' first visit to the U.S. in 1964, culminating in their historic performance on The Ed Sullivan Show, marked the beginning of their American invasion and solidified Ringo as an international star. Challenges amidst success. Despite the whirlwind of fame, Ringo's time with the Beatles was not without its challenges. In 1964, he was sidelined with tonsillitis, forcing him to miss several performances. He also received occasional death threats, a reminder of the pressures and dangers that came with fame. As the band's recording sessions progressed, tensions began to rise. During the creation of landmark albums such as Revolver and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Ringo felt like a supporting player, sometimes overshadowed by the creative dominance of Lennon and McCartney. The frustration reached its peak during the recording of the White Album, when Ringo briefly left the band, only returning after a gesture of reconciliation from George Harrison. Life beyond the Beatles. In April 1970, after the Beatles officially broke up, Ringo's resilience and determination saw him launch a successful solo career. He released It Don't Come Easy, Photograph, and You're 16, among other hits, demonstrating his ability to stand independently as a musician. His 1973 self-titled album, which featured contributions from his former bandmates, showed that Ringo could thrive without the Beatles. Ringo also ventured into television and family-friendly entertainment, narrating Thomas and Friends and starring in Shining Time Station. In 1989, he formed Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band, a collaborative project that allowed him to perform alongside other musicians and showcase his versatility. Ringo's influence as a drummer was cemented when he was inducted into the Modern Drummer Hall of Fame, named one of Rolling Stone's greatest drummers, and received dual induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Personal life. Ringo's personal life mirrored his public journey, filled with both joy and hardship. He married Maureen Cox in 1965, and they had 3 children together. After their divorce in 1975 and Maureen's untimely passing in 1994, Ringo found love again with actress Barbara Bach, whom he married in 1981. They split their time between homes in Los Angeles, Monte Carlo, and London, enjoying a life that balanced privacy with public engagement. Ringo remained grounded despite his fame, practicing meditation, adopting a vegetarian diet, and embracing a philosophy of peace and love that resonated with his fans. Reflections on the Beatles' breakup. In recent years, Ringo has spoken candidly about the Beatles' dissolution. He acknowledges that the late 1960s were a difficult time for the band, with personal relationships and creative tensions beginning to fracture. He attributes some of the growing tensions to external influences, particularly John Lennon's relationship with Yoko Ono. The changing dynamics of the band, coupled with differing artistic priorities, made collaboration increasingly difficult. Despite the emotional and professional challenges, Ringo emerged from this period with remarkable resilience, finding new purpose in his solo endeavors. Legacy and continued influence. Ringo Starr's journey is one of endurance, creativity, and warmth. His contributions to the Beatles, his solo career, and his role as a cultural icon showcase his ability to connect with people across generations. Honors such as knighthood and induction into prestigious music halls of fame are matched by his humility and dedication to music, family, and personal growth. Even at 84, Ringo continues to inspire, with ongoing tours, public appearances, and candid reflections that demonstrate the enduring power of his rhythm, both musical and personal. Through decades of success, Ringo Starr has remained a figure of resilience, grace, and joy, a true testament to the enduring power of music to transform lives.